I'm going to wake everybody up. They saved the rowdiest one for last. I just presented a great marketing presentation in the Manitoba Bed and Breakfast Association, so I'm going to redo it here for you. So it's all about marketing, and you've heard from everybody today. Booking.com explained it the best, that we don't have huge marketing budgets at all. But there's certain things that you can do that Booking.com, bedandbreakfast.com, and the rest of them can't do. And it all starts with your message, what you're trying to get out to everybody in the world. So questions you have to ask yourself, so who do you think you are? And I think the biggest problem we have as innkeepers is we can't see the forest for the trees. We're busy scrubbing toilets, changing beds, answering the phone, and getting the place as clean as we can. So it's really hard to see the whole plan in front of you. So you got to ask, what are you bringing to others? What are you bringing to the table? What are you bringing to the hospitality table? And is there room to expand on what you're doing, and can you do it well? And I think that Sean was asking those questions in his presentation yesterday. So this is all about how to make your property stand out by branding and specializing. And specializing is so important. That's what's going to make you stand out from all the rest and make your bed and breakfast very special. So you need to look at what's so unique about your bed and breakfast, and that those things can help you stand out from the rest. And I'm sure in Stratford and Niagara-on-the-Lake, there's hundreds of bed and breakfasts, right? Hundreds. And you're all different. And you all type in different things on your website and descriptions that make you have all different rankings and levels and things like that. But really, you have to come back down to, what is your mission statement? Does everybody here have a mission statement? What they are? Okay. Your vision statement is what you want to be. Your mission statement is what you are. We are a Guelph bed and breakfast. My vision statement is, we are now, which changed from 5 years ago, is we are a wedding venue bed and breakfast. So for the rest of us, do they represent what your B&B is all about? They change. They can change for sure, because as you're growing and changing, so should these two things change. So my friend Mary, who came to the FOBBA conference a few years ago, owns B&B Finder. I love her tagline, wake up someplace special. I love that tagline. That sounds so happy, doesn't it? We all want to, it sounds like you're waking up every day at Disneyland. So you really need to think about being one of a kind, and that's what our whole industry is all about. The bed and breakfast industry is all about being one of a kind. We are not having anything to do with the Super 8s. We're not a Delta. We don't have to conform to all those regulations. And even though we have our set of standards and practices, we can all be different. No one says we can't be yellow rooms and pink duvets and things like that. We can do whatever we want. So no matter how small, quaint, or homey, or luxurious, it's time to give your property an overhaul in description, positioning, and offerings that make you really one of a kind. And remember, in business, what's the biggest saying? You can't be all things to all people, and that's really true. So as a bed and breakfast, as I mentioned, we're not a Super 8 or a Delta. We start by offering breakfast, and a lot of those basic things are now no longer available at a hotel without an extra charge. So that's one thing we all have in common, whether it's a self-serve breakfast, whether it's a gourmet white linen service, or 3-course, or a continental. We all offer breakfast. And I talked about not being a cookie cutter, and your location. What's your location? Do you really love your location? Can you build on that location? And what can you excel at? Like, one thing we have in common, and I hear this all the time when I visit bed and breakfasts, is the cleanliness. No matter if your room is $80 a night or $800 a night, you can be as clean as the $800, maybe even cleaner, you know. We are kind hosts. We offer concierge services to our guests when they say, hey, where would you like to go for dinner? Or we're thinking about going for a hike. Where do you recommend that is? Or we want to go down and see St. Jacobs. Where do you recommend us to go for lunch? We act as a concierge, absolutely free. And all our amenities, we have control over those things, like our linens, the decorating, and all those things build and start the beginning of a unique experience for our guests. And even though we're kind of figuring out, oh, we got to go to HomeSense and buy the latest and greatest pillow, or we got to go buy flowers for the room, or whatever we're doing, all that is part of your calling card. It's part of your business card. It's part of the experience for the guests. And I think that's probably one of the hardest things as owners and operators, is that we're so close to that forest we can't see the trees. So you got to step back and look at your picture and ask yourself, would you stay here? If you're charging a certain amount of money and you're getting what you're offering, you have to ask yourself, would I stay here? So this is our web page. So things and statements should be on the front and center of your web page to tell people what you are. So Walker Bray House, we are a private retreat on the edge of Guelph. Now that statement was made before we started our wedding business. But nevertheless, that to me is still our mission statement, because we are a private retreat. We offer one single suite for guests. We don't have 5, we don't have 3, we have 1. So we still, no matter what, if you're there for a wedding or an overnight stay, it's still a private retreat on the edge of Guelph. So other people say, and don't be bland. I mean, look at these people. They've got a beautiful property, but it says on Amelia Island. Well, that doesn't tell me anything. I mean, Amelia Island's off of Florida, but so what? You know, so are 100 other bed and breakfasts there. So you need to ask yourself too, and some of these questions that you need to ask yourself, why did you start the bed and breakfast? Why did you start it? You know, I'm sure in your whole business plan of life, you didn't end up from university and go, I'm going to clean toilets and I'm going to burn bacon. That makes me happy. No. So me, I was a former social worker with a very understanding husband, and it was a beautiful property, and I really wanted to share it. I thought, wow, this is a really cool place. This is nice for people to come. And one of the things as a social worker for me was those people in emergency services don't ever relax. They don't sit and be quiet and put their feet up and have a glass of wine. I wanted to create that space for these kind of people who really needed to stop, even for 24 hours, just stop. So, and it was a separate apartment that they weren't going to be in my house. I wasn't going to talk too much to them. I wanted them to just come and be. So, and the other part is, you get to work from home, and we love to cook. So it kind of fit in with our lifestyle. We love to entertain. So you have to ask yourself, is your property historic? Is there some sort of history or some sort of significance that you could advertise? For us, it was an 1850 log house. Am I near events or places? Not really. I'm kind of like 20 minutes to St. Jacobs, 5 minutes to Guelph, 15 minutes to Kitchener. Nothing really of importance. So we created a destination of our own. And is the food remarkable? Yeah, I think we're pretty good at it. So, and for decorating, you can create your own checklist. Like one thing that we talk about is I think we have a very expensive Euro mattress, a Sealy. We have, non-allergenic pillows and things like that. So we put those in our room description so people know that these things are taken care of. I just added this at the bottom. This is the name of their business, Seabreeze Manor Inn and La Creperia Cafe of Gulfport. Ooh, that's a mouthful, I know. But at least you know they have a creperie and they're in Gulfport, okay? A Waterview Inn with casual island elegance in Gulfport, Florida. So that explains it, that kind of landmarks it. So sometimes it's important to say where you are and what you're close to. So this particular one is minutes from Orlando. Okay, Orlando being the center point of Florida and Disney, and they probably get a huge amount of people heading to Disney, but yet want a bed and breakfast stay. So this is perfect for them. This one, you get an impression, a unique historic and an event venue in Gainesville, Florida. Well, you know not to stay there if you're looking for a quiet getaway, because they're going to be busy, really busy and noisy, right? But it explains what they are. So the other thing is, it's important, is when you've had, and they're harder to come by now, journalists, there used to be great big fam tours years ago and people would stay with you and whatnot. It's much harder. Now TripAdvisor's taken over, you know, things like that, Google reviews. So if you have had articles or great reviews, that's fine, but these are 10 9, 8, and I think they appeared on Good Morning America like 7 years ago. Anything that's over 3 years old, you shouldn't even have on your site. 3 years and you're done. So it's okay to dare to be different. I think there's a couple here earlier that were looking at having a wedding and gourmet retreat. That's okay because you want to qualify your customers. This goes back to Sean's speech about going after your alligator, catching your alligator. So you don't want to attract people that hate food. Not the right place to stay. So these people have learned to cook like a pro, and that's exciting. It's exactly what they want to attract, people that love food. Foodies love to come here. And same with this one. So make sure your branding is clear to potential guests. They explain it here, welcome. And I love it when we say welcome on our home page. It's like you genuinely are welcoming these people. It makes me feel warm, and it's like a little message to me. Oh, they know I'm reading about them. So the Tropical Oasis in Old Town, Key West. And it tells you our grand 2-story Victorian mansion built in 1900 to our modern pool front cabana. The pilot house is everything you need. It probably does. So then you want to learn more about it. And this one here, it's a simple message, but it could be elaborated on. Simple, elegant, positively serene. Well, that could be half the bed and breakfasts in North America, really. Pretty picture. So thank God they've got a great picture here to kind of entice you to learn more. But they could have easily expanded on this for sure. This is a friend of mine. I go here every year and I like it. It is a beautiful B&B, but it's luxurious, and she's not afraid to say it. Luxurious bed and breakfast inn in Manio, North Carolina. And the luxurious would indicate to me she's not having anything $99, right? So you're qualifying your guest right at the get-go. And this is another one. This is in Newfoundland. So it's another simple, clear message and easy to get more information. Their website's not complicated. And the demonstration kitchen would lead me to believe that he's going to demonstrate. You're not going to partake in the food prep. You're going to watch, or he's going to cook your fish that you just caught out in the water, which is kind of cool. Now this one's a bit confusing. The tagline doesn't really match the photos. This is a beautiful mansion built to do weddings. They do a serious wedding business here, but it says a world of adventure awaits in the Kawartha Foothills. They only do weddings. So I don't know what the adventure is. Is it they actually said yes and they did it? Like, yay, okay. I'm just not quite sure. And the rest of this website is so filled that, and these things go down to this, that, and everything else. And to figure out how much the weddings is, honestly, you have to have a PhD to navigate through it. And I know her, and they do a tremendous business, but it just is conflicting because I would like to come and stay here. Doesn't this look beautiful? I mean, it's awesome. But the other thing is they don't have any guests till off season because they're so busy with weddings. So I found too that it's not bad to have 2 websites to sell 2 different things. I'm speaking right now to booking.com. We own a wedding bed and breakfast. We've done no overnight stays all year. However, now we're coming into our slow season, and I want to offer, but it's hard to sell weddings when you've got a whole website, it's hard to sell overnights when you've got a whole website dedicated only to weddings. So now I was thinking, we have this luxury retreat, right, on the edge of Guelph. So we're going to now sell it as a taste and stay experience. So I think we're going to name our next website Taste and Stay. Not anything to do with Walker Bray House and weddings. So she could do the same. She could have, luxury adventure Kawartha Foothills. That would be fine in off season because she could sell that. I like this one. I think it's cool. And even though they always say try not to use any sort of paintings or illustrations, you really should show the real deal. I think you get the idea. Heritage Ranch bed and breakfast with farm dinners. I mean, that explains it in a nutshell. That's really cool. So this front and center again this is interesting. I think they're pretty bold and I like it. Most romantic country retreat getaway in the Kansas City area. And they better be, because if you get there and it's not, holy cow. Because when you state it, you got to be it, right? So we get down to the associations, and this is where I think it's our job to let our guests know how serious we are about running our bed and breakfasts. Many of you don't know this man, but his name is Jay Caron, and he ran PI, which is the Professional Association of International Innkeepers. It was the largest innkeeping body in North America, okay? And he said Canada is, and he actually came to a FOBBA meeting in Wasaga Beach, did he not? He says, Canada is full of lifestyle bed and breakfast owners. Full of it. So I said, and that means? He goes, well, unfortunately, it dilutes our industry. It's people who have a couple of rooms, they want to rent them out, but they don't care if they're busy or not, okay? So for the ones that are serious about it, in this room, because we joined this association, that helps, that dilutes our product, okay? It's like the Airbnb people, you know, oh, if I rent it out, but I'm not too serious about it, but let's make a couple of bucks on the side. So as members of this association, it's your job to let your guests know that you're serious about your business, and that's what helps define your bed and breakfast from all the rest, because you've taken the time to become a member and adhere to these standards. So this is something interesting. Letting your guests know that your rating is a good thing, but you have to back it up with your statement. So I was a little bit confused with this one. Serving our guests since 1994. A TripAdvisor 5-star rated lodging. Now, TripAdvisor wasn't around in 1994, clearly. And where's their logo? TripAdvisor logos are everywhere. And this statement should link to the proof. And I bet you that was from 6 years ago. So, and like I said, specializing to a certain market. There's nothing wrong with that. Because if people are just coming for a head and a bed, they can go down to the Super 8. Let that experience go down the road. You want people who are drawn to your property for the reasons that you're selling it. Obviously, this owner does teas and owns an inn. So it's a very charming experience, I'm sure. So where do you go from here? Really find out who you are. And your vision statement doesn't match what you're offering now. And can you enhance your business? Well, after this conference, I'm now motivated, we're motivated now to maybe think about filling in the gaps. Weddings are great. They're doing a great income for us, but there's a whole other market to be had, and those people like to come for dinner and a stay. So a taste and stay. So that's what we're going to be working on, is that next step. So the new idea is that you can deliver well. Well, we're great cooks. We cook an amazing job for the wedding, so now we can do it for people who just want to come and stay on the in-between business. And we talked about, with Sean, partnerships and packages. What can you sell that is a great experience so your guests will enjoy? And I even ask you to go and experience those experiences. So if you're selling, well, I hate to say bungee jumping, but skydiving, no, maybe not. But if you're going on wine tours, or if you're selling a spa experience with one of your partners, it's very important to go and experience that. Because if you find that it's not a great experience, you shouldn't be selling it. You should not be endorsing the packages that you're selling if they're not a great experience. So when you're trying to think of your tagline or content for your website that's front and center, make sure that you finish your sentences. So when you say romantic escape amidst the city or the town, you need to say what town. And what makes you romantic? You need to back that up. You know, do you have fireplaces? Do you have beautiful bedrooms, balconies? What? You need to be a little bit more descriptive. And again, the country retreat beside the mountains, you need to be what mountains? So if you're at Blue Mountain or Collingwood or a view of this or that, you really need to be specific about that. An elegant inn downtown. Don't forget to finish the what's the downtown. And are you pet friendly? Do you know that there's huge lodging demands for pet friendly? We're pet friendly. We even had a wedding that they brought their dog from Calgary. Who knew? Anyway, and if you accept children, because people traveling really need to have those answers and shouldn't have to dig too far to find it. So I would have that front and center, and don't be afraid, to say, this is an adult-only destination, or whatever, however you're going to word it. Don't be afraid to say that, because I think with us, we have a reservation system. We get very little calls in the sense of those kind of questions because we answer them on our website. And gourmet. What makes you gourmet? Gourmet, I think, is an overused word. So you need to be specific, like taste, yummy, country fare, you know, whatever, homemade, all those things. Really can be another description of gourmet, but maybe describe it all made on the premises, you know, made by hand, things like that. People are interested in knowing that because who doesn't like to eat? The other thing I was going to say is photography is so important to your website, so important. I cannot say it. This is our room. This is our wedding room at our bed and breakfast, professionally taken. Look at the shot that we took. Next one. Night and day. Night and day. You want to go back to the other one? Can you go back to the other one? What's going to sell a wedding? Okay. So this is pretty and nice. Makes you want to come over and get married or at least have a party here. Next one. It's like a funeral went on. What the heck happened, right? Oh my goodness, that was taken on my iPad. It's dreadful. No wedding in the world would be sold from that picture. Unless they were sight impaired, maybe. Anyway, that's the winner there, right? We all agree. So, but how many times have you gone onto a site and you've seen horrible photography? It's like, yuck. I would rather have no picture and have some sort of reaction when I got there as opposed to a bad picture. Yeah, we're not photographers. You need to spend money on good photography. So changing it up can pay off. Find your niche. Remember, you can't be all things to all people. Say what you are and stand behind those statements, but never be misleading. You don't have to be big to be bold. Okay, you don't have to be, you know, the huge Marriott or whatever. But your business definitely needs to be better than just heads and beds. So, the people from Niagara, sorry. Yeah, that's right. I found this when you stated this morning about how we need to educate FOBBA, people coming to stay at our bed and breakfast, what FOBBA is. So one of our members is the Norfolk Guest House, and she has this on her page. I'm sorry, this is my last slide I added this morning. It just was having a hard time, so it's bigger than life. So she has the Bear Key, okay, and she has her star rating here. Regardless of the 5, let's say she's a 4, okay, it says, Norfolk Guest House has earned the highest rating of 5 stars from FOBBA. So we're going to give her 4 and reread that. Norfolk Guest House has attained 4-star rating from FOBBA, which is the professional association representing the bed and breakfast industry in Ontario. That is the nicest way to say what we are. Members agree and adhere to a high set of consistent standards defining cleanliness, comfort, quality, and hospitality. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put this on my site. This is so well said, and I think with our stars, and I like the Bear Key, and I like to put my stars and just change that first sentence. That is so well done, and I think that helps educate our guests coming to stay with us. I mean, I don't think it could be better said. I absolutely love it. So I found that. That's not really what I intended to talk about today, but I think that answers your question from this morning, and it's so nicely said. Because you're right, somebody from Germany, somebody from Calgary, what is FOBBA? What are those people? But when you spell it out, that's it exactly. Hey? Yeah. Good one. All right, I think we're done. Oh, one more. Oh, yes. Want to be better than your competition. Don't you love that? Cookies in a cot. I thought we'd love that one. Anyway, thank you so much.